anyways, I'm Peggy Walker, and I am with the Astronomical League. I'm one of the newer people on the council. I got appointed in 2017 by Bill Bogardus, who had passed away, in 2018, 2019 timeframe, to take on the youth and the junior astronomy things. My thing is usually more outreach. I do stuff for blind and handicapped. I make tactile resources for them. And so, not to say I don't observe, but anyway, so when I came down here, then I was asked to talk, I was quite taken aback and I was very honored to do so. So we're going to talk about all of the programs that AL has to offer, but of course you got to figure out what the AL is and what happened back in the day. Harlow Shapley, if you guys know who that is, Harvard University. Then you've got Charles Federer, you know who that is, Sky and Telescope guy, and a guy named Ed Hallback. Ed Hallback and Shapley meet in the late 20s, early 30s, and so they start having a conversation about forming some sort of a organization. Then you've got the Cushing's New York Fair. Then you've got everybody showing up and deciding we want to do a national organization for astronomy clubs. And it was a 3-week show put on by the AAA of New York. And so that's kind of our roots, yada, yada, yada. Here we are. And then we've got the very, very first observing program was put together by somebody in my region. I'm the regional rep for the Mid-States from Omaha. He did a thing because back in the 60s, when you had Apollo stuff going on, the bulk of AL was junior societies. And some of the people in the leadership of AL are products, they're Toys R Us kids, they're AL kids, and they're running the show right now. And so they've been doing this since 8, 9, 10 years old. And so this guy, Dr. Holyoke, he put together a program for 48, 45 students of Omaha. This is actually a rendering of the bulletin, the original Reflector magazine, talking about the 45 kids. They were going to do one for the Comet. Over here's a letter. I scanned a booklet for the junior, all the junior society stuff, so I am fully all up to speed on that. It was Bob Wright, the Bob Wright Award guy, and the 2 or 3 guys, John Cotton and Mr. Holcomb, were involved, but Bob Wright writes a letter to the president of AL, Gene Tandy. Hey, how's all those Messier things going? Hey, we got to get the certificates going, all the pins going. But down here it says, do you think we can open this up for adults? So the very first observing program was Messier, and it wasn't even for grown-ups, it was for kids. Okay, just like tricks. Okay, so anyway, so if you want to follow along, you guys can go ahead and, I know it's strange, get your iPhones out, but you can click in through there, you can go to astroleague.org, and we can go into the observing programs. I'm going to show them to you by topic. They have an alphabetical listing for you. The one way you can determine what you are interested in or where you should start or begin is, and of course I'm like in the paper, okay? So they have a chart when you enter in the first window, and it basically tells you if you beginner, novice, intermediate, do you want to do visual, telescopes, whatever, southern hemisphere, northern hemisphere. And so you can kind of assess what you want to get started in, so you don't just kind of keep going. I hate going through page after page on websites going, no, not for me. No, not that. Oh, that might be good. No, this is a short and dirty thing. When you go through the first page, it will tell you a grid. The second thing you want to click on there is going to be the alphabetical listing. And this one, exactly that. It's done alphabetical, but they're not done by topic, which is what I'm going to do today, is kind of put them together by topic. They all basically, to become a master observer, which we have quite a few of them, you will see that we have these grids here, and they give you all the quick and dirty stuff, just giving an eye thing about what the program is about, what kind of equipment, tools, how many observations you need, anything like that. And so this one here is the Observer Award, and it basically is like going to college, saying, okay, I want to be a master observer, okay, so how do you want to get there? So then you go back through all of these programs that are alphabetical, and they will set them up for you. And this master's observing has several layers to it. So you can stop at any time, You won't be charged, your credit card will not be charged. Just kidding, I'm joking. And so then we've got an Advanced Observer Award. So it takes everything you did for the first level, and then it adds a few more things in there, a few more observations, okay? And then you've got to get into the Master Observer. Here again, adding more and more to the list and offerings that we have. Now you've got silver, then you get into gold and platinum, I'm just saying. And so because every year when we have our business meeting at the Alcons, every year we have 2 or 3 new observing programs that we're adding to the mix. And so you think that there's nothing there for you? No. If you can't find something, then you're really not into astronomy, because there's tons of things here, as you'll see. We now have a new aspect, imaging, if you've never imaged before. So they're going to give you foundations of imaging and be able to master certain imaging things. So if you need extra help, this is where you can come and get some of the booklets for that as well. And then we have binoculars. A lot of times people physically cannot do telescopes. Visually, age-wise or whatever, or little kids, or it's more economical, or people live or hike a lot, they just binoculars is the way to go. You can still get a Master Award for binoculars. So any type of observation, we've got it for you. So this one here is talking about the sky observing programs that we have. And like I said, I kind of grouped them together by topic. So this one here is about Earth orbiting satellites, okay? And so basically you just log in the latitude, longitude, and when you go in through these different programs, what's really great is you learn your vernacular. You learn what is transparency, what is magnitude, what is the seeing conditions. So as you proceed and go through these, sometimes they're going to start adding in different types of equipment. Now all of a sudden, well, now you can use a Herschel wedge on this. Oh, now you can use GoTo. Now you could use this. So it keeps expanding your horizons the more you get into these programs. This one is a dark sky advocate. Basically, is kind of like the IDA. And so outdoor lighting, and you basically go through and you're basically the lighting police for your community, and you write up things. You don't arrest them, but you kind of monitor that. This one is really phenomenal. I really think this is exciting. This is Galileo, and you'll find some of them will have the same name, but 2 different programs. It's because it was done by 2 different people. This one was done by the same person. They did the regular telescopic and binocular. You are going to repeat the observations of Galileo, all 13 of them. You're going to look through his supernova. They give you the dates. This is 1608, 1610, 1611. So you're just going to go through the phases of Venus. Totally, totally awesome. I did not even have a clue that he saw the Pleiades, comets, and all that, because we always think of Venus. We think of Saturn, the Mickey Mouse drawing that we had. Very, very interesting program. This one here is, I kind of call it a specialty, because it's about sketching and observing. And I don't know if you have ever seen, the woman who manages this program, I don't know if you ever got the AL calendars that I did. There was a couple of sketches from this woman. It looks like a photograph. And I'm like, what? Really? What? Okay. She's at Mauna Kea, so of course she's got some great telescope to look through. So that one is basically all sketching. A lot of times your information will be in PDF files. You can download the list off of PDF. I have some books that are here from some of the older ones that you would have to purchase those books separately. But I have some at the table, a lot at the table. This one's called 2 in a View. This one's kind of new also. And it's any 2 or 3 objects in one eyepiece view. So I think somebody bought a Explore Scientific, I don't forget which one it was. She says, everything fits in this eyepiece. So I forget which one she got, but that one was really the best one. See, like number of observations, 100, it gives you all the layout. When you get into these different programs specifically, when you open up that file, there's tons of information in there, okay? So I'm just giving you the quick and dirty. We have one on radio astronomy. And this one was really awesome too, because you learn how to put together an itty-bitty radio telescope. And for those people who work with students, or people who want to keep people in the club and doing something a little different than being at an eyepiece all the time, build an itty-bitty radio telescope. Then we have constellations. This is really basic. It gets, for your younger kids, even for people who have never done astronomy, and you look up and they think everything's a star. and you're going to know that's a planet. Like, how do you know, kind of a thing. This one here is, this one we just brought in 2 years ago, actually from a guy from my region, is alternate constellations. So back in the day, before they started rearranging things, they had a lot of different combinations of stars in different constellations. So you get to look at the earthworm, the reindeer, the rooster, Frederick's honors. I mean, I never even heard of these, right? This one is cool too. This is all about asterisms. These are different asterisms than what we would normally see. Like when we think of the Big Dipper, that's an asterism. It's not the constellation. This one here is a constellation hunter, north and south. So you have two horizons to think about for people to, we really had opened up the southern horizon a lot more because we have more people joining AL from south of the border, and we're up to I think we're over 22,000 people in the AL, so that's pretty exciting. Okay, active galactic nuclei. All right, here you're going to observe and image the galactic nuclei, quasars, the BL Lacerda objects. This one here, our particular galaxies. See, it says for advanced amateur observers and imagers. So they kind of clue you in if you are already attracted to that or into that type of technology. This one is for southern ARP galaxies, okay? This one is flat galaxies. So the edge on, you detect those. The other one was recording the position and angles. I mean, it's really interesting. You get into a lot more depth than just observing things. You're getting into some science here, okay? All right, the galaxy observing programs continued. The one here is galaxy groups and clusters, and I believe I donated that for the giveaway, and it's for either visual or optical observers, and it actually gives you an image of what you're looking for. Okay, so some of these manuals are just really profoundly great. You know, we also have other booklets that kind of will be great adjuncts to some of these programs. Local galaxy groups, neighboring observing programs. These are all like Andromeda, the smaller companion galaxies to some of the major ones in the Milky Way. Like I said, I grouped them together by topic, so they're not alphabetical. Okay, this one here is lunar, and you've got the binocular and telescopic done by the same person on this case. 100 features, you know, grouping all the different mare and things like that. And here again, you have all of the information, the quick information here. This one is a lunar evolution observing, and it talks about the stages of evolution, the pre-nectarian, the Imbrium area, Racinine, you know what I mean, the Copernic area. I didn't even know those existed, really. So yeah, so they went out to the geographical things of the moon, which was interesting. This one here is the Lunar 2 observing program, and this one you go in and you do 100 observations, but you got to give both names to the objects. It's not the Sea of Sorrow. Now you have to say, you know, Mare, whatever it was, you know. A little bit more detail. And so, I mean, there's no way you cannot learn something from them. There's no time limit on these, all right? There are some special programs that if you're doing eclipses or things of that nature that, like, some of the Jupiter ones are, is when Jupiter comes in at its closest, you know, things like that, or transits and things like that, those programs pop into existence at that point in time. But for the most part, these are the ones that are they're just there all the time. Bright nebula, interstellar clouds, emission, reflection nebulas. You got two levels here. At the top, you can see where it would say regular and advanced. So the first one is 60 images or observations. The next one's 100. So these little square things will tell you everything you need to know as a quick reference. Dark nebula, and so how to distinguish them from the background things. You're going to be doing the Barnard stuff, the Lens Dark Nebula, all that. And some of that is naked eye stuff as well. So it's not always, you know, using equipment a lot for everything. Planetary nebula is, you know, stellar evolution. You have to make 2 observation sessions at different times, note the proper position of everything. Here's a nova. Then this one is, you know, of course, dwarf novas. And this one uses the AAVSO information. A lot of times we partner with other organizations and you become part of the big pool of data. You know, you wind up collecting the data and feeding it into the pool that they've got going on, right? And this one has 2 levels to it, also a silver certificate and gold. It's just funny because I keep going, I look at these and I go, there's just so much here. It's like a candy store, right? All right, so this one here is asteroids. All right, not only just the ones that we know about, but even hunting down the new guys, the newcomers. You're going to do photometry, the measurement of them, timing of the asteroids, and occultations of the asteroids. Comet observing kind of is the same thing as what here with the asteroids. But what they want you to do is not only just do current ones, but there's certain ones that they want you to do prior to January of 2001. So find you a comet that is still going to be coming around, and you start doing observations on that one. This one was very interesting, Galileo's toes. And I kind of went, look, sick person, I don't know. It's, you know, I think a toe fetish is, I don't know, it's just weird. But when you read it, it's TOES. You're talking about transits, occultations, eclipses, and shadows. You are all about the Galilean moons going across Jupiter. And so you're doing all the timing of those. And the first one, I think it gives you, it says witness 2 events for each moon, okay? And over here, you're witnessing all the events. So you have a lot more observation time on the second, the second one. It was very interesting to read about just even getting the shadows across the belly of Jupiter. It's really amazing. All right, so on this one, it was planetary. We've got Jupiter, 75 observations for that one. Mars, we've got the polar regions and the clouds and all of that. We've got meteors observing. I saw about 5 this weekend so far. 6-hour sessions. You've got them in chunks of time for you to, you got to log all your timing on that one. Occultations of objects, and it covers any kinds of things like, well, here it says advanced uses the GPS timing with frame-by-frame analysis, and then that one goes to International Occultation Timing Association. So your discoveries and your documentation will feed into the international network for that. Here's some more planetary. This one has planetary transits. This one is only good for like Venus and Mercury. All right, so we know those won't be coming back for a while. We've got this one here. We've got the solar system. And this one was cool because it's all about basic solar system objects. And I think it'd be good for people that kind of, your brain on an asteroid, on a meteorite, what's a dwarf or minor planet, things like that. You know what I mean? All the different objects that we have out here. Besides the regular, they have some sketching involved with some of these, all right? That one does. This one here is the NEO, and this one is target near-Earth objects. This one ties in with, what's his name, Schoenwelter from the Osiris mission. He put that together, and so you are working with, I think they're out of Mount Lemmon, Arizona, and that's the program that they're already in, the Osiris-Rex mission people. All right, this is going to be your solar stuff here. You've got the Alenia. This one I thought was interesting because you're talking about the azimuth, the position of the sun in the sky. We just don't think about it in terms of solstice and things like that. We're talking about, you know, the azimuth. You're sketching exactly where it is, the angle of it. This one here is the solar neighborhood. So what is out there with our sun? We've kind of discovered that the sun has a sister star. And so what they call, you know, what is that, Nibiru coming in with the other things that every 1,300 years its star passes through. I remember that was on the cover of Astronomy magazine, that they discovered our sun's sister on that one. This one here is, of course, you got spectroscopy. This one has the do-yourself, build your own spectrograph attached to that one. This one, of course, is sun spotters, drawing, and some of those are also imaging. You present so many sketched and so many imaged things on the sun. And then stellar observing, we've got advanced binocular double star programs here. You've got 1,100 doubles and multiples. And so they're using the WDS catalog database. You know, you're doing the separation, the position of them, tracing their orbits, things like that. Binocular double star program, same thing, but you've got these are 75 mag or to 150 mag. Or a 3-inch refractor. You can use the smaller optics for the binocular also on that one. Here, this one here is the variable star observer. This is the one we work in tandem with the AEVSO on. So you're going to be getting your list, and everything you put together will be with the AEVSO. Carbon star, these are those rare, red stars that are dying off, and the red giants and things like that. You will be sketching some of the objects, and so you're talking about magnitudes 8.5 to 14, so they're kind of faint. Here's another double star. This one is like 100 objects, but this one, here again, sketching, star hopping, they want you to do that. So you're learning certain techniques besides a go-to telescope, right? Hydrogen alpha program. I really like this one because it actually shows you the things you see in your scopes, like you're seeing pyramids, you're seeing broken arches or arches that are not complete. You didn't know they had names for them, but they do. There's names for them. And so I thought it was really amazing to see that. It's a hydrogen alpha filter observing for that, and some sketching is involved with that. I actually copied some of the information off of that, and when I do sidewalk astronomy, I have a little piece of paper with that on it. They did an article in the Reflector magazine, and I give them a sketching thing, I give them a clipboard and say, oh, go look at the eyepiece and sketch what you see, kind of a thing. All right, this is a globular cluster program. This one is, I think we started to do it last night, but yeah, we need to do more prep work for it. But it uses the Shapley-Sawyer classification system on that one, so we have to do a little bit more reading to know what the heck we're doing. Multiple star observing might have some of these tied into it, but this one was the orbital pairs, measuring the separation and how many companions it has, even though I love, exoplanet stuff, but it's like, you have to do math. I don't do math. Okay, I'm an artist. That's my job. No, I'll sketch these things, but I won't do the math for them. All right, so this one is open cluster program. Here again, like 90 are them in the southern hemisphere, so you get to sketch 25 of them. You have stellar evolution program here. That one's about all the stages, and it's basically my favorite thing I love to teach the kids is the HR diagram, color, line, luminosity on that one. Variable star, telescopically. You got the Betelgeuse and the SS Cygni variables, and the things with the longer periods on them, where you're doing longer observations on those. And more deep sky programs here. This one is new. We voted this one in a couple years ago. This is called the Bennett Observing Program. And the reason why it's named after an astronomer from South Africa, because if people in the southern parts could not ever become a master observer because they didn't have a Messier. We start everything off with Messier. This is similar to the Messier of the southern horizon. So now they have something that they can actually now compete with and actually work on getting their master observers. We've got the binocular Messier, all right, and then the Caldwell programs, and it goes up into, it has 109 in there, and it has from 1 to 13th magnitude, plus 85 to negative 80 degrees. So yeah, I don't think I'll ever finish mine because I'm not going to Antarctica anytime soon. But anyways, the thing about this one was when Sir Patrick Moore came to the league, he gave them permission to use a signature. So your certificate will have a signature on it, okay? Deep sky and binocular observing programs. This one here is all, NGC, CR, stock, mark, MEL, TRs, IC objects. Anyway, they can be viewed as they rise and they set in the, as they rise and set in the sky. And there's some people that just really this is their thing. I mean, to me, I like I said, sketching from an eyepiece is great too. So Herschel, we've got Herschel 400 objects. We've got the Herschel 2 program going on. Same thing, you could go there. Messier telescopic, southern skies binocular, because it'd be the same thing as this southern. Okay, so this one here, you've got the southern skies. That's on this one also. You've got the universe sampler here, southern. This one is really good for beginners, but southern skies, yeah, I'm not going to be there, but it actually has. You can do manual device on that one. This one here is a universe sampler, and it's good because it is a broad solar system kind of thing, and where we are in our galaxy in compared to other galaxies, all right, in the universe. This one here is urban. that's really a good one to start with, because you're in your backyard and your neighbor has lights on, and at least you're finding stuff, and it gives you courage and go, you can do this, right? So if you're a beginner, the urban one might be the way to go on that one. The novice and youth programs, the Beyond Polaris was written for adults that are just coming in and know nothing about the sky, nothing. So it gives you basically sky lore, naked eye things, your vocabulary, what the solar system is, and if you have if you go into classrooms or do outreach or something, that would be a really great one to have a night with the kids at the observatory. They revamped it and they watered it down, and it's actually now a free booklet, and it's really more of a coloring book. You can use it for elementary kids that are like in secondary. So kindergarten is second grade, third grade, because once you get older than that, those kids are smarter than some adults, I'm just saying. So, I mean, it's free. You can buy a box. You can just request a box of them. And I got a box of them and did an event and handed them out. So now this one is brand new too. Youth Astronomer Program basically is doing what they did with the adults. You're going to go through and look at all that, maybe looking at start with the moon, start with some sun, and this would be really great for maybe junior high, high school students, because they're now going into the adult programs that I just talked about. So they're going to have more mastering of equipment. Littler kids, not so much, but when they get older, they'll be able to put everything together. This one here is just the outreach, and you can't see those are all my scopes, all my Dobbs. And in fact, no tumbleweed. I refurbished tumbleweed for John Dobson's scope, but she's not in there. But anyways, so they have the ones that are for library telescope. If you have any questions on how to do that, you can get a hold of me. St. Louis is pushing over 200 in the state of Missouri of these. I mean, it's like, I don't know if they're getting kickbacks, I don't know, but they are just, they'll tell you how to do it. You basically get a star blaster. The eyepiece is kind of glued in so things don't come off. They drill a hole through the front of the cover, and it's tied onto the thing so it doesn't fly away on you. And so, all you do as a club is you columnate it and maybe clean it for them. But it gets checked out just like a library book. And then they have the one that's for outreach award, and that's, you have to log how many hours that you're doing things. And so during IYA 2009, I was doing stuff with the Tulsa Club, and I made a lot of them have to drink because they were just an older club, and they had this quiet way about them, and I'm like, are you guys doing astronomical astronomy? You're not doing astronomical astronomy? Really? So I got them hooked up doing stuff at Bass Pro, and we were at another site, and it was amazing because when the year was said and done, I had done all 3 levels, and I had about 3 to 6 hours to spare. So I did all of that. I just zipped through it, and people are like, well, you're on crack. I don't do caffeine. Okay, just saying. This is me. This is me. All right. So this is that chart I was showing you already. And I think if you've never done an AL observing thing, just start somewhere. And the thing I like the most, I would have to say, is I forgot to talk about the one about before the telescope. Astronomy before the telescope. If you've got college students or high school students, they will have to put their cell phone down. I know. You might have to get something to calm them down. They're going to make a astrolabe. They're going to be making a sextant. They're going to learn about the equinoxial landings, and even through like some of the buildings that are out there. It's hands-on, and which is my thing. I love hands-on stuff. The other one was, I think the aluminum one, which is where, I'm not saying it right, sorry, where you're imaging the sun and you're seeing the sun make like a figure 8. Yay, let's make a, box camera, whatever they call those, pinhole cameras. Okay, that's a project for that one too. So there's a lot of things. If you really wanted to do some engagements, if you just go on there and look at it, you could do it as a club. You wouldn't have to do it. The thing is, people look at these and they do it individually. Technically, yeah, they're all for individuals, but I grab stuff from everywhere and I just incorporate it and do my own thing with it. And then I move them on to, into the club next door in Tulsa. I'm in Broken Arrow. They've got tons of people there. A lot of retired teachers are in there. So I do STEM. When they get requests to go and do outreach, comes to me, you know what I mean? And then once I get them excited, or we also offer, we have a service. It's almost like eHarmony, only with telescopes. We say if you're looking for a telescope, you can get used ones. Don't buy the first thing you see. Let us know. We'll help walk you through it. Make sure you got all your parts. They're not screwing you on the price or anything. So we've matched a lot of happy telescopes with people. So yeah, it's just another service we offer. But anything you can do to do any sort of engagements, that's what you want to do. Go to Southern Cross. It's $25 to join, and you become an AL member. But the thing that's so cool about the Southern Cross folks is that when you guys get your Reflector magazine, I'm just saying the first part, there is an article by a lady named Peggy Walker. You may want to read. But then I've been told, I don't read your articles because you don't write about observing. But anyway, so I had kids making petroglyphs with paint and sticks, but I'm just saying. But when you get toward the back, you will see the list of names of everybody who's getting pins and certificates from all these programs. And you go to some of these star parties, and you see people with pins all over their heads and their, badges. And I think that's a badge of honor. That's a lot of hours of doing this, right? But the other part is the connection to Southern Cross is you will see the list of awards that go to youth. There's imaging awards, the Tippy Diori Awards. We have Jack Horkheimer Awards, came from this club, all right? Jack Horkheimer actually does awards for youth and for kids under 18 that are actually out doing sidewalk events or actually helping clubs, pull members in. So it's the Southern Cross has been involved with AL since I think the 50s. I found their original paperwork. I went up to the office at Kansas City, and I took pictures of the guy showed me their file. And I think it was like in 1950. So I took pictures of everything. I texted it to Russ and I said, hey, I thought about you guys today. And he goes, can you email me that? I said, I'm sure you have this. No, we don't. Can you email me that? Sure. So it was really exciting. You know what I mean? A lot of clubs in AL have been around for a very long time. Hence a 37-year-old star party, okay? So I just think at some point, if you've never done any of these or a way to attract college students or high school students or Boy Scouts or anything, any groups. I did a thing at a church once. It was kind of fun. Grab one of these programs. There's nothing wrong with, taking some of the PDF files attached to these that will be adjuncts to what you want to do. That will give you some new ideas. So all of these are, if you just become a member, the only thing is some of the books you would have to buy. Other than that, most of them you can download the PDF file on how to do them and the observing logs for them. So it's really kind of free to you. So that's how the AL rolls. And I am done. Any questions for anybody?
Great job.
All right.